In the year 705, the Visigothic Kingdom entered a period of transition with the ascent of a youthful monarch, King Wittiza. His journey to the throne began in his formative years when he shared the rule with his father. Amidst the turbulent backdrop of the early Middle Ages, Wittiza's early reign was marked by relative stability. His primary concerns were minor conflicts with the Basque tribes in the north and occasional border disputes involving the Byzantine Empire and the Frankish Kingdom. However, as time marched on, both internal dissension and external challenges started to threaten the Visigothic dominion over the Iberian Peninsula. While historical records about Wittiza's reign are somewhat limited, it is evident that he had adversaries within his own realm. In 710, a sudden and dramatic upheaval shook the Visigothic kingdom to its core, resulting in Wittiza's overthrow. This coup d'état was believed to be the result of a well-orchestrated plot by a Gothic faction led by Roderic, the Duke of Baetica. The abrupt change of leadership plunged the Visigothic realm into chaos and uncertainty. Roderic seized the opportunity and ascended the throne in Toledo, but his rule was met with opposition. Attila, another claimant, declared his sovereignty over the northeastern territories. This discord sowed the seeds of civil strife, while a peril loomed from the south. The Umayyad Caliphate was steadily extending its influence along the North African coast, where Berber tribes predominated and had embraced Islam. The governor of the newly established Ifriqiya province, Musa bin Nusayr, demonstrated keen insight into the internal fractures within the Visigothic realm. Berber and Arab raiding parties had intermittently attacked the coastal settlements of Hispania. In a shrewd strategic maneuver, Musa appointed his trusted subordinate, the Berber general Tariq ibn Ziyad, as the governor of Tangier. Tariq was tasked with leading a daring expedition across the strait to challenge the fragmented Visigothic kingdom. In the early months of 711, Tariq embarked on this audacious campaign. He landed in southern Baetica with a formidable force of 7,000 warriors, raiding several Visigothic cities without opposition. Impressed by Tariq's initial success, Musa swiftly dispatched an additional 5,000 soldiers to reinforce the Berber general, amassing a total force of 12,000 troops. Meanwhile, Roderic was preoccupied in northern Hispania, suppressing a rebellion among the Basque tribes. However, upon receiving word of the Muslim incursion, he hastened his return to the south and rallied forces capable of confronting the invaders. In a remarkable turn of events, Roderic managed to secure the support of many of his former adversaries, including Cisberto and Oppa, who had once been loyal supporters of King Wittiza. Their motivations appeared centered on defending the realm, and there were even hints that Attila, Roderic's primary rival, might have considered joining this newfound alliance. With this support, King Roderic's army swelled to a formidable 35,000 troops. As the troops assembled during the summer, Roderic initiated a southward march, fully prepared to confront the Muslim invaders head-on. When Tariq's scouts reported the presence of a substantial Christian army advancing from southern Baetica, Tariq made the strategic decision to position his forces on elevated terrain, providing them with a commanding view of the impending battlefield. The Battle of Guadalete unfolded as a monumental clash on the undulating plain near the Guadalete River. On this fateful day, Tariq, leading a smaller but strategically adept Berber army, positioned his forces with utmost care. His troops constructed earthworks and fortified their positions, adopting a defensive stance to confront the impending Visigothic threat. Tariq had a well-calculated plan in mind to weather the storm of the larger enemy force while keeping his swift-riding light cavalry in reserve, poised to exploit any tactical openings that would present themselves. Facing Tariq's prepared defenses, King Roderic, leading the Visigothic army, arrived on the plain with a massive but less coordinated force. Roderic positioned his heavy cavalry at the forefront, flanked by loyal retinues, while infantry formed the backbone of the second line, personally under the command of the king himself. His audacious strategy aimed to utilize the heavy cavalry as a battering ram, smashing through the Muslim ranks and allowing the infantry to flood in, sowing chaos in the enemy's midst. In spite of their numerical disadvantage, Tariq's Berber army was formidable. These troops were decently equipped, moderately experienced, and unwaveringly loyal. 1/3 of Tariq's forces comprised Berber mounted units, a mix of light and heavy cavalrymen. The remainder of his battle formation was composed of infantry, drawn from Berber and Moorish origins, with a sprinkling of missile units among them. Tariq himself led a personal guard of about 300 warriors, providing the sole Arabic presence on the battlefield. In stark contrast, Roderic's Visigothic army boasted twice the numbers of the Umayyad forces. However, the majority of his troops were slaves and peasants, wielding rudimentary weapons and wearing minimal armor. Their training and discipline were sorely lacking, and their loyalty remained questionable, as many had likely been pressed into service against their will. Nevertheless, amidst this less reliable force, Roderic also commanded more valuable units, including heavily armored Visigothic nobility, accompanied by their servants, as well as well-drilled heavy cavalry detachments. The battle erupted as Roderic issued a frontal assault. Yet, this charge was immediately met with a hail of javelins and arrows from Tariq's light skirmishers, cunningly positioned before the Berber lines. Despite this relentless missile barrage, the Visigothic infantry pressed forward with unyielding determination, plunging headlong into a brutal melee with the Muslim forces. Initially, Tariq's defensive tactics proved effective, blunting the force of the Visigothic charge. As Roderic's troops began to tire, Tariq seized the opportunity to launch a counterattack with his light cavalry, attempting to encircle the heavily armored Visigothic cavalry. Although a fierce clash ensued, the Berber riders were eventually driven back. Yet, this apparent retreat of the Muslim center concealed a clever ruse. Tariq's objective was to draw more Visigothic forces into the chaotic center of the battle. As additional Visigothic troops poured into this vortex, many of Roderic's armored cavalry became ensnared in the relentless melee. With the Visigothic flanks now exposed, Tariq exploited the situation. He moved his available cavalry to the sides, preparing for a decisive push that would encircle Roderic's vulnerable center. In the midst of this turmoil, the opportunistic Oppa and Cisberto, likely commanding the Visigothic flanks, chose to desert the field, leaving their positions wide open. With Berber light cavalry sweeping around the Visigothic flanks and launching attacks from both sides, Tariq gave the command for a general assault. The combined force of the Muslim push finally shattered the resolve of Roderic's foot soldiers, who began to flee in disarray. While the Visigothic cavalry made valiant attempts to maintain formation, they were gradually overwhelmed and cut down. The ultimate fate of King Roderic remains shrouded in the mists of history. Some accounts suggest that he met his end in the heat of battle, possibly even in personal combat with Tariq. Others speculate that he perished while attempting to escape by crossing the river. Regardless of the exact circumstances, the Visigoths suffered a devastating defeat, with over half of their army either killed or wounded, amounting to a staggering 16,000 casualties. In stark contrast, the Muslims incurred approximately 3,000 losses. Tariq's triumph at Guadalete stood as a pivotal moment in history, a resounding victory for the Umayyads that would reverberate through the centuries. The aftermath of the Battle of Guadalete had far-reaching and devastating consequences for the Visigothic Kingdom. With the decimation of the ruling class and internal divisions, the kingdom was left virtually defenseless. The Umayyad Muslims, emboldened by their victory, wasted no time in pressing their advantage. They rapidly advanced, capturing key cities and ultimately besieging Toledo, the Visigothic capital, mere months after the battle. This marked the beginning of the collapse of the Visigothic realm. In the long term, the Battle of Guadalete set the stage for Arabic domination on the Iberian Peninsula, leading to the establishment of Al-Andalus. This period brought about profound cultural and societal changes, including the Islamic Golden Age in Spain, marked by intellectual and scientific achievements. It also initiated a complex interplay of cultures and religions, with Islam, Christianity, and Judaism coexisting and influencing each other. This battle's enduring legacy shaped the identity of the Iberian Peninsula for centuries to come, leaving an indelible mark on its culture, language, and history.
On this channel, we are putting together narrative historical cinematic battles. Make sure to subscribe and thank you for watching. See you on the next one.